Well, we always had a lot of fun with this one. The Jailhouse Rock.
Do the jailhouse rock with me, let's rock. Everybody, let's rock.
Jailhouse Rock looked like a flashy rock and roll musical, but behind the glitz was grief, rebellion, and moments that nearly destroyed Elvis himself. A throat injury that silenced him, a co-star's death that haunted him forever, a song that almost never got written but changed music history. Here are 15 facts you won't believe. Number 15. Jailhouse Rock was Elvis Presley's third film, but it came at the darkest moment of his young life. His mother, Gladys, had just died, leaving him devastated. Elvis threw himself into the role of Vince Everett, but the loss followed him onto the set. Some fans insist you could see sadness behind his eyes, especially in quiet scenes where the swagger drops. For Elvis, this wasn't just another Hollywood paycheck. It was his first test as a man, smiling for millions while carrying heartbreak the world couldn't see. Number 14. The famous scene where Vince Everett's throat is crushed wasn't inspired by a real punch on set, but the danger behind it was all too real. During filming of the Jailhouse Rock dance number, Elvis accidentally inhaled a dental cap from his tooth. The crown lodged in his lung, and doctors had to part his vocal cords surgically to remove it. He spent the night in the hospital, then returned to finish shooting. The irony is haunting. In the movie, his voice is nearly destroyed by violence. In real life, it was nearly lost to an accident. Quick pause. Most of you watching aren't subscribed. Please hit that button. It really helps us keep making great content. Number 13. Elvis's ducktail and sideburns weren't just hair, they were sacred symbols to fans. So when Vince Everett was forced into a prison haircut, teenagers panicked. The studio issued a statement reassuring the public that Elvis's look would return. For girls who wept over magazine clippings of his hair, seeing it cut on screen was jarring. Yet Elvis didn't flinch. He risked angering the very fans who worshipped his image. In that moment, he proved he wasn't just a heartthrob. He was an actor willing to shed his crown.
You're so young and beautiful. I offer you and never set me free.
Number 12. Only days after filming wrapped, tragedy struck. Judy Tyler, who played Peggy, was killed in a car accident at 24. Elvis was devastated, retreating into silence and refusing to watch Jailhouse Rock again. Crew members remembered him growing quiet when her name was mentioned. The usual sparkle in his eyes dimmed. For the world's most joyful performer, it was one of the first cracks in the armor. The film became marked by her absence, a time capsule of beauty and talent forever lost. Every scene with Judy carried grief. Number 11. Audiences in 1957 weren't prepared for Jailhouse Rock's plot. A convict becomes a star? Hollywood usually celebrated clean-cut heroes, not selfish ex-prisoners. Parents and critics were scandalized, while teenagers embraced it. The story mirrored Elvis's own reputation, dangerous, cocky, and irresistible. Suddenly, fiction and reality blurred, and Elvis became more than a singer. He was a symbol of rebellion. The storyline rattled authority figures and thrilled young fans. It was rebellion on film, something new, dangerous, and electric. Number 10. The famous Jailhouse Rock dance sequence feels like it was rehearsed for months, but it wasn't. Choreographer Alex Romero gave Elvis loose direction, then told him to move naturally. What followed was pure instinct, Elvis letting his body channel rhythm like lightning. That rawness is why it feels so alive decades later. Teenagers tried to copy the moves in their living rooms, while critics labeled them vulgar. It didn't matter. What the cameras captured wasn't choreography. It was the king of rock and roll dancing straight from his soul. Number 9. The movie's most famous sequence almost never happened. Studio executives thought the Jailhouse Rock number was too long, too wild, and too risky. Cutting it was seriously considered, but the gamble paid off. The performance became one of the most iconic musical numbers ever filmed, defining Elvis's career in cinema. Imagine the movie without it. Unthinkable. That one scene elevated the entire film from just another rock and roll picture to a cultural milestone. Sometimes the riskier choice is the one that echoes across generations, becoming unforgettable.
I think I'm gonna just hate you.
You ain't gonna hate me. I ain't gonna let you hate me.
Number 8. Critics mocked Elvis's early movies, writing him off as a singer who couldn't act. Jailhouse Rock forced them to reconsider. As Vince Everett, Elvis delivered arrogance, charm, and vulnerability in one performance. Reviewers admitted he had real screen presence. For Elvis himself, it was a turning point. He believed this was his strongest acting role, the closest he came to proving he could be more than a novelty. For once, people weren't laughing. They were watching. And in that moment, Elvis wasn't just the king of rock, but an actor. Number 7. Elvis often said Jailhouse Rock felt like his first adult film. He didn't mean the subject matter, he meant the weight. This was the first time he wasn't just a singing cowboy or a heartthrob. Vince Everett was complicated, selfish, even cruel. Elvis had to carry the story, not just the songs. That responsibility changed how he approached acting. He knew people would finally judge him as more than a teen idol. For Elvis, this was the first time he felt he wasn't imitating. He was creating. Number 6. The story of Vince Everett rising from prison to stardom hit close to home. Elvis himself had clawed his way from Mississippi poverty to international fame. Fans instantly saw the parallel, a boy from nowhere who refused to stay caged. Vince's story blurred into Elvis's own myth, fueling the idea that he wasn't just living the American dream, he was rewriting it. For teenagers who felt trapped in small towns or strict households, Jailhouse Rock whispered freedom. If Elvis could break chains, maybe they could too. Number 5. It's hard to believe now, but Jailhouse Rock nearly didn't exist. Songwriters Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller were reluctant to write it, only finishing after pressure from their publisher. They thought of it as a throwaway assignment. Instead, it became one of rock's most enduring anthems, outlasting the film itself. The song roared from jukeboxes and forever tied Elvis's image to rebellion. Fans still can't imagine the movie or rock history without it. The King's defining number started as an obligation, proving even accidents can crown legends. Number 4. Leather jackets, sneers, and music parents hated. Jailhouse Rock became the ultimate symbol of teenage rebellion. In the buttoned-up 1950s, it was a cultural earthquake. Teenagers couldn't get enough. For them, Elvis wasn't just performing, he was leading a movement. The movie gave their frustrations and desires a soundtrack and a face. Every note of the piano and every curl of Elvis's lip shouted the same message. Old rules were over, and the youth had arrived. Number 3. Judy Tyler's tragic death was something Elvis never recovered from. Friends said he never spoke her name again, and whenever Jailhouse Rock was mentioned, he would change the subject. For a man who joked about scandals and even laughed at critics, that silence was telling. The grief ran too deep. The film became a success he couldn't bring himself to celebrate. To the public, it was entertainment. To Elvis, it was a reminder of a friend lost too soon, a wound that never healed. Number 2. The realism captured in Jailhouse Rock wasn't solely due to its plot. It was amplified by the painstaking set design and atmosphere. MGM Studios recreated prison environments with such authenticity that cast and crew felt the weight of confinement. Designers studied real prison life, and that attention to detail influenced the tone of key scenes. The shadowy lighting, echoing footsteps, and claustrophobic staging made Elvis's performance more intense. This commitment to authenticity made audiences feel the tension of life behind bars, showing the world a darker, grittier side of rock and roll cinema. Number 1. Before Jailhouse Rock, movie soundtracks were an afterthought, a collection of pleasant background songs. Elvis changed that. The soundtrack sold millions, proving that music could be the driving force behind a film's success. Suddenly, studios saw soundtracks not as decoration, but as engines of profit and culture. This single record paved the way for Saturday Night Fever, Purple Rain, and countless others. The idea that music could outlive the movie began here. A convict sang his way out of prison and rewrote how Hollywood thought about sound. Bonus fact: when Elvis died in 1977, television networks searched for a way to honor him. Again and again, they turned to the Jailhouse Rock dance sequence. For millions, that became the last image of Elvis, young, electric, sneering with energy. It froze him in time, a permanent loop of rebellion and joy. Decades later, the number still resurrects him with every broadcast. The king may be gone, but in that scene, he never ages, never fades. The jailhouse keeps rocking, and Elvis remains immortal every time the music plays. If this brought back memories, drop your favorite Jailhouse Rock moment in the comments and tell us which rock and roll classic we should cover next.